CNN's Anna Coren following the latest developments live from Hong Kong. I mean, this idea of lawmakers sleeping in their parliament in case the president brings in emergency measures is extraordinary.
It is, but they are there to protect democracy. That's why they've been doing it, and that's what they say. We are yet to hear from President Yoon Mak since that shock declaration of martial law late Tuesday night. There was talk that he might appear at the National Assembly today. That clearly didn't transpire. It's now just gone 6 p.m. In Seoul. But we know that the main parties have been holding emergency meetings throughout the day regarding that vote to impeach President Yoon. As you say, it's scheduled for tomorrow, 7 p.m. local time. But if the opposition Democratic Party, which holds the majority in Parliament, can actually get the numbers to pass the motion, it could happen earlier, and they need to win over 8 votes from Yoon's ruling People Party. This is no longer out of the question, Max. Following a U-turn by Yoon's own party, we heard this morning from the leader of the PPP, and he said that Yoon must be suspended. Take a listen.
Yesterday, I said I would work to prevent this impeachment from passing in order to protect citizens and supporters from damage caused by unprepared chaos. However, considering the new facts that are coming to light, I judge that an immediate suspension of President Yoon Suk-yeol's official duties is necessary to protect the Republic of Korea and its people.
Now, those new facts are this credible evidence that Yoon had ordered the arrest of key politicians on anti-state charges, including Han, who was just speaking, as well as other members of his own party. And Han believes that if Yoon stays in office, he could declare martial law again. And that is why you've seen these lawmakers camping out in the National Assembly. But look, any notion that this could happen again, it was ruled out by the Special Warfare Commander earlier today, who said he would defy such orders. But look, this is a clear indication that Yoon's own party is now prepared to impeach him. If you remember yesterday, they were against the vote and quite unified in that decision. But look, Yoon's approval ratings, they are just through the floor. They're at their lowest point, 13%. Polls found that 70% of South Koreans think that he should be impeached. And we're also learning that national police have launched an investigation into Yoon and the former defence minister who allegedly encouraged Yoon to declare martial law. Look, there are labour unions on strike. Many people are expected to take to the streets tonight and over the course of the weekend to put pressure on Yoon to resign, or for at least the National Assembly to impeach him. Max.
We'll see what happens. We'll be reporting on that, of course, tomorrow. Anna, thank you in Hong Kong.
We are also continuing to follow the developments out of South Korea. The head now of the ruling political party is calling for the immediate suspension of the president's powers. This, of course, follows President Yoon Suk-yeol's shock decision this week to impose and then to quickly, just hours later, reverse his declaration of martial law. The leader of the People Power Party, who had previously supported the president, now says he has evidence that Yoon ordered the arrest of key politicians during that martial law decree, and now appearing to throw his weight behind the impeachment efforts. Mike Valerio is in Seoul for us this hour. This is certainly a shift from what we saw even yesterday.
Yeah, Erica, that's right. So we have the leader of Yoon Suk-yeol's political party saying in a pretty dramatic statement today that, yes, there are new revelations of a list of people that South Korea's president wanted to arrest with his martial law powers. But even so, Erica, the Conservative Party is saying they don't want to impeach him. They think that could be a bridge too far. They want to severely curtail his powers. Now, in contrast to that, the liberal members of South Korea's parliament, we spoke to one party leader downstairs. We're going to take you downstairs, showing what this building, the heart of South Korea's democracy, looks like and how it is functioning, Erica, 4 days after martial law. Days later, you can still see damage inside South Korea's National Assembly. In fact, if we look through this hole, this is where a door was kicked through during clashes with soldiers, and you see tables, chairs, fancy sofas, pieces of office furniture that were used to barricade this door. It would only be a short time later that soldiers left the building.
In the aftermath of martial law, a critical question at the heart of South Korea's democracy. Will there be enough votes to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol? For Liberal Assembly member Cho Guk, he's confident there will be.
I think more than 8 conservative congressmen will join.
Cho was one of the people who rushed to the National Assembly and voted to suspend President Yoon's declaration of martial law. We asked if Cho thinks there's a chance President Yoon declares martial law a second time.
The possibility is decreasing, but exists because President Yoon is still there. He is not removed.
Still on the job is Lee Myung-woo, who helped push back soldiers entering the assembly grounds. He took this video of military helicopters landing nearby. We were blocking this door with a big barricade, Lee told us. Special Forces soldiers were making their way into the building as I and other officials built a barricade from the inside. The soldiers were barred by the barricade and the people. The area was sealed off by law enforcement. Kim Yong-gun shows us how he helped lawmakers climb over a wall so they could get into the assembly and vote to end martial law. I crouched like this. 4 of us moved as one team, Kim said. We decided to help the lawmakers get inside the building. 2 of us made a distraction for the police, and I crouched down for the lawmakers to climb over the wall. President Yoon's office released a statement late Thursday saying he declared martial law within a, quote, legitimate framework in order to regulate political activity and confront the forces destroying liberal democracy. As for Cho's message to those across South Korea,
My fellow citizens, President Yoon will be removed very soon. Do not worry about that. Keep your conviction. Do not hesitate to remove the tyrant.
So, Erica, we should mention a couple seconds before our piece started airing, you could probably hear some yelling a few meters behind us. That is essentially a cri de coeur, a yell pumping up members of the opposition to stay overnight and to make impeachment happen. About 60 members, more or less, of the opposition party are staying in this building, holding vigil over democracy, as it were, to make sure that members are in the National Assembly chamber just in case something unforeseen, another black swan event, happens here in South Korea, and a good contingent of lawmakers will be in the heart of South Korea's democracy to vote on anything should they need to. Do a repeat of Monday night into Tuesday morning when they all voted unanimously to suspend that declaration of martial law. Finally, the opposition lawmakers have said even if impeachment does not fly tomorrow, if their vote fails, they're going to try again and again. And if the impeachment vote, Erica, fails over the weekend, expect to see pictures from Seoul and cities throughout South Korea of thousands and thousands of people protesting because public polling is showing north of 70% of the population in South Korea wants President Yoon gone, Erica.
Wow, those are some pretty high numbers. Mike, really appreciate the reporting. Thank you.